All right. Injury wise, what do you got for us, my brother, on this Thursday?
Yeah, again, we did not see Teron Armstead out there, Odell Beckham Jr. tackle, and then hopefully Bradley Chubb can maybe make a return. I just posted a story from our conversation with him, so he's in that second week back. He talked about the long journey and everything, but he doesn't know if this will be the week, but. Consider it's just 5 practices. He didn't have a training camp, not like everyone else. Hold out on hoping too much that it is this game for Bradley Chubb, but maybe if he does show that he's ready after today's drills and then tomorrow. But still some hold out there, but maybe not yet for him.
Yeah, listen, maybe you learned something from the Jalen Phillips thing. He didn't really get enough of a training camp either. And then they started playing him, there from the get go. I think they should have brought him along a lot slower. And as for Chubb, I think you do the same thing, dude. There's no hurry right now. I mean, it is what it is. The situation you're in is not going to change much, and you shouldn't put any kind of expectations on him. The only thing you need from Bradley is to go out there and play on the knee a bit so he can get over that hump. And that way in the offseason, it's really about football. And then he's ready to play football in training camp instead of going through that whole thing about, oh, let me get hit. Let me go through the football and then feel good about the knee. No, do that now in the next, couple of weeks when you do get to play, and that way you kind of get over that hump. To me, that's all it is for Bradley. The worst thing that you do as media or fans or even his teammates put any weight of the world on him as in expectations. Oh man, we need you badly and that kind of stuff. That's not the situation he should be in coming back from that knee injury.
Yeah. There's certainly a mental hurdle to get over for anyone who suffered the injury that he suffered and has had such a long rehab and has just slowly progressed in what he is testing with that knee to early stages of rehab. Well, first, surgery that predates that, and then going into the early stages of rehab, and finally, once you get to running and cutting on it, and then actually now, as he's done for the past 2 weeks now, go through practices. So remember, like I said, he didn't have a training camp like everyone else did, which is a month long. Instead, he's working off of 5 practices. Mike McDaniel said he's increasing what he's doing by double this week. So that gives you sort of a measurement on, okay, well, might have not been too much that he did last week, and he is still being listed as limited, at least as on Wednesday's injury report. We don't have the Thursday one out yet. But, there's that aspect to it. Now, I don't want him to go and then obviously suffer a setback because he's getting that mental hurdle out of the way. So I think for him, what you more so do is, there's a full aspect to it, but then also just don't push him too much. It's limited reps whenever he does come back, if he is ready. I don't know if that'll be this week, but then for his first game back, give him just limited reps, and then just to get that feel. Don't place too much on him because he's going into a situation where he hasn't had a training camp, and then he's playing a bunch of people who are deep into their regular seasons and have and in some high stakes games here where, especially if the Dolphins maybe win another one, now you're really sort of talking about getting back into that playoff race. If they lose, then you're kind of, like you've been saying long before, out of it. But but
Playoffs, that's funny.
You don't want to push them too much and act like it's. But the Dolphins are treating it as must-win games, so you don't want to put too much on his plate as far as responsibility for that must-win aspect of it.
What's your theory on the running game? Because for me, if you didn't start with the attitude from the beginning of training camp all the way through preseason and every week, I Shula couldn't run the ball with Marino, but he still, if you go check the stats, because I remember it, he still would run 20 plus times a game, 25, 30, and people would ask him, Coach, you're getting 3 yards a carry. Why? Well, we got to keep running the ball. We got to keep them honest. All that bullshit Shula used to tell you. And he would fail a lot with the run in the Marino era, but yet, it was like people thought, oh man, that's kind of a waste of time. But he wanted to maintain that balance. As you well know, McDaniel throughout his tenure has not maintained that balance. He's been more pass heavy than run heavy at times. And so to me, that has hurt, that you have never really embraced the attitude of we're constantly going to line up and punch you in the mouth. And without that, I don't know if you ever really develop a running game. You just can't turn it on and turn it off. And that's what it seems like they want to do with their running game. They want to be able to turn it on and turn it off, and that's not who they are. That's my theory on why you struggle to be a running team. Your theory, besides maybe also you might not be a great, physical running team at this point in time, especially without Austin Jackson. So talk to me. What are the issues you see why they had some success, but they really can't have consistent success?
Yeah, you can't turn it on and turn it off, but they've sure turned it off just fine in the past 5 games. So,
I like that.
Yeah, right.
I like that.
Now you got to go do the turn it on part, but they haven't done that since.
Yeah.
No, I know it aligns with whether Tua has been in there or not. So. I talked to some linemen this week. That's another thing I'm working up on this run game, and specifically short yardage situations and things like that, and not being physical maybe enough in those situations. But it aligns with Tua being out, and then the Dolphins had to, out of necessity, build an identity of being a running team, and then Tua comes back, and then they haven't found a balance more so where you thought, okay, hopefully you can keep that going, instill it, and then let Tua do his thing, and you have a balanced offense. But instead, it's after Tua had one game in, then it was just basically Tua all the time.
Can it be Austin Jackson, dude? Can it be the absence of Jackson?
Yeah, there was Austin Jackson absence. Alec Ingold, I felt was part of it when he
definitely
missed some time with the calf injury, but then also he's been limited since. So, and he's still, on the injury report for it, although he's up to increased participation. But him being limited, not having Austin Jackson on the right side, having a Teron Armstead that's been hampered, although he's tried to play, and then actually the last game only played 5 snaps. So, he's a bulldozer in the run game as well at left tackle. So those things accumulate and they hurt. And maybe Jalen Wright, you haven't gotten him going as much as when HN missed a game, it was Jalen Wright and Raheem Mostert. They were able to go and run against the Patriots. So we haven't seen that come back into fold in either Jalen Wright snaps or even his opportunities. Yeah, even his opportunities though. Yeah, he hasn't. It's not like he's done much with them of late. Although we did see glimpses of that. So physicality is an aspect of it.
Think about this, dude. Think about what you just said. Look how frustrating this shit is.
Yeah.
They didn't run. No, they don't run the same with Tua. Okay, but you have the threat of the pass. That should open up your run.
Right.
But then you dedicated to the run when you weren't a threat of a pass. So you were obvious that you were going to run, and yet you still ran.
We're able to do it.
Now you can't run when you have the threat of the pass. That makes no sense. Just like when you have Gesicki, you don't use him. And it's not because he doesn't fit your system. Sure, he's not perfect, but you're a bad coach because you don't find a way to use him. In Cincinnati, they found a way to use him. Then you bring in Jonnu Smith, and then we see him in training camp in the preseason. We're like, holy shit, they're really going to use their tight end. And then the season starts. And the first month, Jonnu Smith is kind of like disappeared. Then all of a sudden, Jonnu Smith is featured, and he's kicking ass and having a great year and all that kind of stuff. And it's just weird how this man doesn't produce consistency all around in different decisions. How is it that you can run without a quarterback, but you can't run with a quarterback? How is it that you have a tight end and you don't use him, and then when you do use him, then he's productive? Just frustrating, bro.
Yeah.
Frustrating.
Yeah. That whole aspect of that you were able to run the ball without the threat of the pass, it's so perplexing now to not see it still come to fruition when you do have your quarterback in there. And I understand maybe there's the commitment aspect to it, but it's just even on a yards per carry basis, it hasn't been there. So it's really just mind boggling. It's hard to really have an answer for it. And sure, talking to coach, we talked to Eric Studesville, the running backs coach today, and talking to offensive coordinator Frank Smith and different linemen. They point to little technique things and fundamentals in blocking and physicality at the point of attack and short yardage situations is one thing. And they're finding small things, they say, that they have to clean up. But at some point, these small things shouldn't lead to such a huge disparity in how effective you are running the ball. So it really still is just so confusing to watch until it gets fixed. And we have seen in recent weeks, because we went a long time without seeing Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle get a game going together since week 1. So that was one aspect that I did like.
Another thing like that, right?
Yeah,
right. Your receivers were so explosive, and now you can't get them the ball, and it's just the night and day aspect with Mike McDaniel. It's just there's so much inconsistency in the way he does things with his offense. It's really, really frustrating, bro. Like really frustrating. Yeah,
Right.
it's just one of those. Are you picking them to win this week in Houston?
Yeah, actually, I am. I have the Dolphins 23, Texans 20. So we keep the hopium alive another week. I will say the next game the Dolphins lose.
They're beatable.
Yeah.
Beatable.
Hey, the Texans have, so they started 5-1, and now they're at 8-5. So what is that? 3-4 in the last several weeks. So they
kid has 15 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. He's having
CJ Stroud took a little.
Yeah, he's not right. He took a couple steps back, but again, they're also not dominating with the run game.
Right.
And it's what don't look a lot of these young quarterbacks. If you don't dominate with the run, they struggle, dude. They struggle. It's tough. It makes it harder on your quarterback when you don't run. And last year they were really good with the run game. They were dominant, and that helps. I showed a bunch of young quarterbacks last year that had success. I showed exactly, look at their running games, and they were all successful running games. It really helps out a lot. This year they're not nearly as dominant on the ground.
Yeah, and that's one aspect that I do like the Dolphins' defense on the ground. Now they'll get a heavy dose of Joe Mixon, and he can run physically as well. And the DB's got to be able to tackle. If he gets that second level, he punishes defensive backs. So Javon Holland, Jordan Poyer over there, got to make sure they bring him down because he will get something extra out of it if he gets to them.
And that Jordan Poyer has been a real difference maker.
Yeah, I know. It's been the safety play the Dolphins have gotten has not sufficed.
Dude, I'm a huge Holland guy, and I will understand if they let him go. I would tag him at least, but yeah, he just is not making plays, dude. It just I don't know. Those knee injuries did a number on him. The safety play, you're right, for the Dolphins overall. It's not just a Poyer thing. It's a Holland thing too. It has been very weak. It's bad.
Yeah. The tackling has been like the angles. Safety play angles are so important because that's how you're coming at a player and making sure they don't turn something into an explosive play. And there's been a lot of situations where the angle has been off and then a player is just able to scoot right by a safety. So that's been unacceptable. We were talking to Ryan Slowick, the DB's coach, and from his perspective, he says Jordan Poyer has been solid, is the word he used, and he likes having him as that experienced player back there that keeps everyone at ease, is a calming presence. But now overall as a team, I like what the Dolphins have done, but it's just individually you haven't seen it from those safeties. So maybe there are some benefits to what they bring and how they help others, but you just haven't seen it from that back end, that last line of defense at safety.
All right, a little bit off the beaten path here. I think it's going to be an absolutely entertaining disaster. Bill Belichick in North Carolina.
Okay. I thought we were still talking about this game.
Now, listen, dude. Being old, there's not a lot of positives, but perspective does help you. And I watched Chuck Noll get old, and Tom Landry, and Don Shula, and we got an old Bill Parcells that was in really in tune with building teams anymore and that kind of stuff. And to me, Belichick got old. And once he lost Brady, he proved that he couldn't overcome. And he was just getting worse and worse and worse. And his style, look, I'll say when nobody, well, I'll normally do this, bro. With the hockey guy, what's his name? Talon. I told before they fired Dale Talon, I said to fire him a year and a half, 2 years before that. Okay. Well, I'm saying it now. Not to fire him or whatever, but things have passed Pat Riley by a little bit. He doesn't do things the way you need to do it in the NBA now, where you need to take steps back and need to reload on first round picks and create cap space. No, he keeps trying to put a band aid on the problem and he's killing himself. So everybody's time comes and goes, no matter what, and in anything. It doesn't matter who you are. Your time will come and go, and it'll happen. It'll happen to what's the name of this? Skip Bayless. Your time will come and go, and that's just the way it is. For me, the time came and went for Belichick. Nobody wanted his style. You're getting younger now, bro. Are you kidding me? You're gonna try to deal with these kids? You 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, NIL. I'm not playing. I'm leaving, coach. All that shit, dude. You've covered the college game, and it's worse now than when you covered it. Just a few years. You're just a few years removed, and it's way worse. So I got to tell you, I think this is going to be an entertaining disaster. Your thoughts on this?
It could very well be. I mean, I'm cautiously optimistic for the ACC that Bill Belichick is able to, instill some an improvement at UNC and maybe make the whole conference as a whole more respectable in terms of like a 2-loss Miami team that maybe that wouldn't be so disrespected and kept out of the playoffs. If the whole conference is able to be brought up with something like this, but it's a different ball game. And Bill Belichick, he really pounds on his guys and throughout his time in the NFL. And it's going to be different when he's teaching these young kids, do your job, no days off, and all those things that he always preaches. And and especially when if they don't like it, they could just go to the next program and find some NIL money elsewhere. So it's going to be very interesting. Not only the college game with Bill Belichick, but
Dion
this
has
new age
swag. Dion has swag.
Yeah.
Dion can vibe with kids still because he knows how to go down to that plateau. I don't believe Belichick has that skill.
Yeah. Right. I mean, how is he going to go into certain kids' living rooms and recruit them? He's used to drafting guys and
he won't travel. He won't travel.
So there's a disadvantage there. His connectivity to younger generations, maybe. Now, he has done wonders for himself with all the interviews he's done, all the media he's done, Pat McAfee. I think we've seen a different side of Bill Belichick than what we knew as a coach. So maybe there is some of that personality that could come to the forefront in having to recruit and everything. But it's going to be very different for him. So, and I can't wait for his press conferences and watch him with like UNC student media, and he just gets frustrated and says like, "We're on to Wake Forest. We're on to Wake Forest."
Listen, if you're so excited, why don't you try to apply for a job over there so you can get on that beat? I'm sure that's the kind of beat you really want to be on.
Yeah, no, not at all. Hey, Mike McDaniel, for all the flack you give him for his press conferences, I would much rather have him back there than Bill Belichick giving me the bland answers.
My God, dude. Can you imagine having to cover Belichick I would just quit the business. If they told me, okay, listen, and I love the business, obviously, because I've done this on my own almost for 5 years. So I love the business. No, there's no doubt about it. But if you told me, hey, the only job you could get is you have to cover the Belichick beat, or you have to quit this business, I'm quitting so soon. It's not even funny how fast I'll quit. When I was young, I would probably put up with that crap. But at this point, oh God, no way I would want to be in that. Oh God, that's not the. I feel bad for those Tar Heel reporters, to be quite honest.
Yeah,
That's torture to have to cover that guy now. Oh,
Yeah. In the immediate future, then it's very interesting. They have a lot to work with, but then I think once you get down to those dog days of if the season doesn't go too well, and I feel like Bill Belichick will be a little difficult to deal with in the media.
yeah. All right. Follow him on Twitter at David Furones _. What do you got going on in the Sentinel?
Yeah, just wrote up on Bradley Chubb coming back. So he spoke to us for the first time in this 11-month process to come back. So he had a lot of good things to say about how grateful he is to get to this point. And he did reveal that it wasn't just the ACL, but also patella and meniscus in that knee. So go read up on all of that and everything he had to say. And then also I'm going to be writing about the run game, shortcomings, short yardage as well, and get some great stuff that Anthony Weaver was saying about Zach Sealer on the interior pass rush and how he's been strong in that regard. 2 sacks last week. So, plenty. And then later this weekend, I'll be previewing the Dolphins-Texans game.
Probably what delayed it was the meniscus.
The meniscus more so.
Yeah, because they overcome the ligaments, but once you have the meniscus tear and all that, again, how big was that meniscus tear? How much did they remove? You know what I'm saying? So that usually is the part that might take the longest in the whole rehab. That's why I hope they take it nice and easy with him, and don't you guys start writing up they need Bradley to get some sacks badly and all that. That's not good, bro. Not good.
Yeah.
It's not good. He needs to just come back and be himself for
temper expectations. Yeah.
For 2025. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what he's playing for. You lost him last year in a meaningless moment, and now you lost him for the entire season. The last thing you want to do is screw it up now for 2025 already. You know what I'm saying? So that's where. And by the way, where's the other kid? The Cameron Good kid.
Cameron Good, I mean, same boat. We haven't heard from him yet, but he returned to practice same day, so last Wednesday. So he just completed his 5th practice back, and McDaniel put him in the same boat when he mentioned 100% increase in what they're doing. So seems to be on the same track. It was just a week later that he got hurt with the patellar tendon. So
I like him, but he hasn't proven anything yet, so there shouldn't be any expectations outside of him helping you out on special teams, which is where he was kind of actually helping, at that point. But let's see what happens.
And he went down on that Hardy punt return touchdown, Deontay Hardy for the Bills, the one that crushed the Dolphins early in the 4th quarter of that game last year. I think if that doesn't happen, he might make the play on that. And who knows what's different, but
on a bad luck, dude. Just bad luck on the poor kid.
Yeah.
All right. Good stuff as always, David. We'll talk post game, my brother. Appreciate you. Sir. Safe travels.
Thank you.
You got it. There you go. David Furones, Welt Rheaume. They know how to get it done. 954-966-4646. We've been telling you about Jeff and Dan for a long time now. They are absolute bulldogs. And any of you that struggle with any of these insurance companies, the most important thing is that you have the proper protection. Like a quarterback needs a left and a right tackle. Well, you kind of need this in life too. Well, Welt Rheaume are those left tackles. And they're also defensive ends at the same time because they're protecting you and they're going after the insurance companies. So bankruptcy, homeowner property damage, condo damage, personal injury, criminal defense, business owner claims, commercial litigation, condo damage is big. Lots of people are calling. Call Welt Rheaume, 954-966-4646.
This is the